Let's welcome our market master for the day, Sanjeev Prasad, Senior Executive Director and Co-Head of Kotak Institutional Equities. He's joining us from Singapore. Good morning, Sanjeev. Good to have you with us, especially because you're seated in one of the centers of the global markets, Singapore. From that perch, how does it look to you, this global market, well, crash is a strong word, market fall? Wall Street, all Asian markets, and the big fall in crude, the big fall in ATHEX, Dubai, UAE, some of those markets losing on Friday 6 and 7%. Does it look like there is a revisiting of that growth scare, or is this just year-end profit taking and even this will pass?
I would think it's probably a mix of the two. Obviously there are some concerns which have started to emerge about global growth. Clearly, the Eurozone is struggling with growth. China is slowing down, and that's the consensus view everywhere that despite all the policy measures, it doesn't look like you will see a lot of growth coming out of China. At best, the stimulus or the rate cut by the PBOC may lower the decline in growth, I would assume. And finally, Japan, continues to struggle given lack of structural reforms. Now that you have the government again back in place, hopefully we'll see some acceleration over there. And other factors, obviously, these markets have done very well this year, despite all the concerns on geopolitical issues and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, you have had fantastic run in most of the markets. You look at China, India, everywhere you have seen a lot of returns for the year. So it could be just that, people are just booking some profits and, at the end of the year taking it home. Looking forward, I would think that, this conditions will probably continue. You will still see probably more volatility as we go forward. But, having said that, whatever we have seen in 2014, I don't think things can go much wrong from there. And despite that, the markets held up reasonably well in 2014. You had the Russia-Ukraine issue, you had Eurozone, having growth scares from time to time, deflation scare is over there, Middle East tensions continue to be there, ISIS has emerged as a very strong force, but despite that, the market did reasonably well in 2014. So all put together, when I look at 2015, yes, there would be some concerns on growth, but that doesn't mean the world is coming to an end. The markets which have strong fundamentals such as the US and India, I would assume would continue to stand out compared to some others.
Sanjeev, hi, good morning. So would you advise investors to use this dip as a buying opportunity and buy good quality names now?
Oh, clearly. That's been our thesis for some time. Any dip would be a buying opportunity. And if you look at India, a lot of value has started to emerge in some of the ignored names. Case in point is, for example, Reliance Industries. This is a forgotten stock, and it's not really performed at the rally. And when the market corrected, it's corrected more than what the market has corrected. So suddenly, a lot of value has emerged over there. We are also seeing some amount of value emerging in some of the industrial names, even some of the utility names, etc. Which are largely been ignored by the market. You are starting to see some value emerge over there. And of course, the good quality names in autos and banks, which we really want to play the economic recovery, as also the decline in interest rates themes going forward. Valuations are still on the higher side, but I would think any correction over there is a buying opportunity.
Okay, Sanjeev, let me start with one of the sectors that gave us a bit of a jitter on Friday, with TCS coming in and expressing some problems for its third quarter. How do you look at the IT space itself? Promoters selling in Infosys had already rattled a lot of investors.
Well, I won't, make such a grim prognosis of the entire thing. I would think, the Infosys promoters had their own cash compulsion, whatever. They probably want to diversify their holdings away from Infosys alone. So, they are free to sell their shares. I don't think it's a commentary on their take on the IT sector slowing down, etc. I would say. Having said that, the commentary from TCS management was not that great. This is anyway the third quarter, which is a seasonally weak quarter. Plus, you are also seeing a lot of cross-currency impact, which has started to emerge for the Indian IT companies. US demand in certain sectors is still not very strong, particularly insurance, where TCS has a reasonably large footprint. So all put together, obviously there are some concerns on growth. But having said that, valuations as far as most of the IT companies are concerned are pretty reasonable. When I look at 2016 or 2017, most of those names are pretty much trading in line with the market. If anything, something like Tech Mahindra, Wipro would be cheaper than the market. So I think clearly value has again emerged in some of the names. Something like a Wipro just hasn't performed over the year. And if I remember correctly, this is trading at somewhere less than 12 times in March 2017 numbers now.
That's an interesting point, Sanjeev, because even if you look at a stock like Havells this morning, there is some value buying that you're seeing at lower levels. It's bounced back about 1% after the 20% fall. Would you stay away from companies like these, good quality names that have scaled down their guidance, or do you think that for a longer term investor, this is a good buying opportunity? Names like Havells, TTK Prestige, etc.
Now, I would clearly look at the medium-term opportunity, and if it's a good quality company generating high ROE, I would definitely look at picking these in correction, because that's the only time you can buy these names. Because otherwise, you'll have to pay very high valuations to buy these names when everything is going good. So if you are looking at high-quality names in the consumption space, could be any of the names you mentioned over there. I would just look at the medium-term opportunity which India offers for most of these companies. It's a fantastic growth story at the end of the day. Obviously, GDP growth will take some time to recover, but at the end of the day, if you look at 2016, we're still talking about 6% plus real GDP growth. Hopefully, as reforms scale up over the next 12-24 months, India could get back to about 7% plus GDP growth from fiscal 2017 with the implementation of GST and further reforms. So, that's a time when you buy good quality stocks, and these are great compounders. Do keep in mind the simple fact that many of these companies over a 5-year period can easily grow about 15-20% compounded earnings growth, in which case you're looking at effectively doubling your money in either 5 years if it's 15% growth, or in 4 years if it's 20% growth. So that's the simple arithmetic over here.
Sanjeev, actually, how would you say split your investment at this juncture? How much would be financials? How much would be IT? How much would be consumer? Say 100 rupees.
We just put out the model portfolio for next year, which is more or less a continuation of what we have been arguing for some time. So the two themes which we have been talking about is recovery in GDP growth over a period of time and economic activity, and the second thing is lower interest rates. So clearly the two sectors which we have been very overweight are auto and banking. We continue to have a large portion of the portfolio, 50% of the portfolio in the auto and banking names, which play very well on these two themes. Having said that, we have cut a little bit of weight from some of the autos and banking names because they have been real outstanding outperformers this year, and moved the money a little bit to some of the industrial names, Reliance, etc., which have been very big underperformers in the last 6 months of this year. So as I was saying, auto and banks put together 50%, out of which auto is 16, banking, which is only private sector banks, is 34%. Then you have IT, which is 19%. I've just increased the weight on Infosys a little bit, given the fact that it's come down and trading at reasonably good valuations. And then we have some, weight across some of the other sectors, depending on what stocks we like. So, for example, consumers, we are broadly underweight, but then we like some of the names over there, so it's still 9% weight over there. Industrials, construction, infrastructure, the entire space is about 6%. In energy, we have increased the weight a little bit compared to the large underweight which we had earlier, so now it's about 9%. So that's broadly the portfolio. Banks, autos 50%, and you have IT at 19%. Pharma is about 5%, so 4 sectors effectively account for about 75%, and then you have a few names here and there.
Right on cue, I guess. All the banking stocks are higher by about 1 to 3% today. So big jump coming in the last 5-10 minutes. But in the auto space, Sanjeev, would you stick with the OEMs, the Marutis, Tata Motors of the world, or will you now increase your allocation to some of the auto ancillaries as well, the good quality ones, Motherson, Bharat Forge, etc.?
Auto ancillaries have become quite expensive. That's one of the concerns which we have, and many of them have exposure to exports. And I'm not very sure whether Europe is going to be as strong as what people were assuming earlier to start with. And the second factor to worry about is the currency impact, which will be there for at least the likes of Motherson, Sumi, which have a large amount of exposure in Europe. So, some of the auto ancillary companies we had scaled back some time back itself as far as Motherson, Sumi, etc. is concerned. So our positioning currently is more on the OEM. So we have Hero, Maruti, as also Tata Motors, and the only auto comp company which we have really is Apollo Tyres at this point in time.
Okay. Sanjeev, how are you looking at the coming quarter? Is it that we can see some dips, some serious dips? That's very important for a trader and not terribly unimportant for even an investor. Post-budget, do you think this market can give up seriously, especially if the fourth quarter numbers don't look that good?
The quarterly numbers will not be very great for as far as this year is concerned, because clearly growth is an issue as of now. Third quarter numbers will have some of the one-time impact, which will have to see what's the real impact in terms of the currency depreciation as far as dollar is concerned, and appreciation as far as some of the other currencies like euro, etc. is concerned. So that will have some implications for the IT companies. As far as the energy companies are concerned, clearly there will be a large impact on coming from inventory losses, which all these companies will have to book. So that's going to be a negative. Some other companies, on the other hand, will stand to benefit because of lower raw material prices, maybe more in the fourth quarter compared to the third quarter, because they will still be working through the inventory which they will be holding as of September. So that will get worked in the current quarter, and the real impact of lower raw material prices for something like an Asian Paints, etc., will come more in the fourth quarter. So the impact is going to mix, but given the fact that you are still not seeing too much of recovery in the economic activity in general, it doesn't look like earnings are going to surprise too much on the upside. And given all those one-time effects which have to factor in, you could see some disappointments. But I don't think that's really the industry. The industry is, what this government can do over the next 12-24 months in terms of more reforms. And, what does it mean really for growth and interest rates over a period of time. So I think that's the most important thing. So your point about some correction is probably warranted if India does not see the kind of reforms which we have started to assume from or expect from this government. And winter session has turned out to be a little bit of a disappointment so far. We haven't really seen a big push on some of the legislative changes which we were looking at. We still have a few days left. So let's see if GST bill can be tabled in. The Finance Minister is working at a pretty frenetic pace, trying to convince the states to get on board. Hopefully, we'll see some action over there. Life insurance bill, I assume, can be passed, because there seems to be some broad consensus over there. Coal mine has already been, passed in lower house. Let's see how the upper house deals with it. So these are the three bills I will keep in mind. And coming to budget, look at, what all further the government can do in terms of land, labor, and power sector reforms, which are very important for kickstarting the investment cycle.
All right, Sanjeev Prasad, on that note, thanks for joining us, and we hope that we see lots by way of reforms coming through from the government.